Hey, Squirt, what are you doing there?
My brother and his nasty friend Michael came up to me. It's none of your business.
Look, she's playing with kittens. Let us play too.
I stood between them and the cage and looked at them angrily. No, they're too small. Go away. But Michael soon came back. He kept coming up to the cage. The kittens were homeless. I had found them on the street and I was taking care of them. I was afraid that John or Michael were gonna hurt them, so I didn't let them come close. In the evening, Mom called me to dinner. I left the kittens in the yard, and when I came back, the cage was open. The kittens were gone. I recognized a cap lying nearby. It was Michael's. He'd let them out on purpose. What a nasty, disgusting boy. I searched the whole neighborhood, but I still couldn't find them. Michael and I had a huge fight that night. Then his family moved, and we didn't see each other again. Hi, my name is Shaylee. Please press like and subscribe to the channel. One day, I was passing by my brother's room when I heard his phone ring. John was in the shower, so I answered for him.
John, hey, this is Michael. I recently moved back into the city. You want to hang out?
What? That nasty Michael was back? I froze and I stayed silent.
John, can you hear me?
John's busy. This is his sister speaking. Don't even think about coming over. Got it? I hung up and then John came into the room.
Hey, what are you doing here? Who was that?
No one.
Give it to me.
John took the phone and called Michael back. They talked and my brother looked at me wearily.
Stop sulking. I think it's about time you forgot about childhood grudges, don't you think?
I didn't say anything. I knew I would never forgive Michael. I got a job and sold ice cream at a water park for the summer. I had to complete a probation period, and at first everything was going well. But then, one day, I saw a group of boys heading straight for my van. One of them was so handsome. I quickly did up my hair and I straightened up. One of the boys ordered ice cream. I was putting the scoop in the cone when I accidentally dropped the spoon. I bent down to pick it up, and my hair got in the ice cream container. It got so dirty. The boys started laughing at me, and I felt like I wanted to sink through the floor. At some point, I snuck a glance at that handsome guy, and he smirked.
You're still as clumsy as ever.
That voice, why did it sound so familiar? Wait a minute. Michael? Wow, he had changed a lot. What are you doing here?
Like everyone else, I came to ride the water slides.
And of course, you had to come up to me.
I just wanted some ice cream. Give me a couple scoops of banana ice cream.
I picked up a cone, annoyed, and was going to get the ice cream, but I messed up again. I accidentally touched the container with my elbow and it fell to the ground. Damn it. This is all your fault.
Whoa, Shaylee, what are you talking about? Is it my fault that you're such a loser?
Ugh, why are you talking to customers like that? Look at how much ice cream you've wasted. You're fired. The boys burst out laughing again, and I was beside myself with anger. I couldn't believe I'd embarrassed myself in front of Michael like that. It made me hate him even more. I came home angry and upset. However, I was in for a pleasant surprise. John, Shaylee, we have good news. You're going to a summer camp. When I opened the camp's website, I was stunned. It looked like a paradise with lots of fun things to do. Let's have fun! Yeah. John seemed happy, but he gave me a weird look. I didn't really think much about it. Soon, we arrived at camp, and I met my roommate. Her name was Katie, and she wouldn't stop talking for even a second. Blah, blah, blah. Her chatter was gonna drive me crazy. Let's go to the stadium. The boys split into 2 teams and they're gonna play. When we arrived, I immediately saw John. That wasn't surprising though. He liked playing football. He noticed me too and came over to say hello. Then he went back to the field. Katie tugged on my arm. How do you know that cool guy? That's my brother John. Brother? Wow, you have to introduce us. Yeah, right. John couldn't stand chatterboxes like her. One of the players must have confused me for the goal because I suddenly got hit in the head by the ball. My head hurt and I collapsed on the grass. The world went dark for a while. I didn't understand what was going on. And then I heard John's voice.
Let's just say it was my fault. She already hates you.
Who did I hate?
No, don't lie for me.
Oh, no. Hell no. I recognized that voice. Maybe I had just been hit too hard and I was imagining things. I opened my eyes, and it wasn't my imagination. Michael really was standing in front of me. You hit me on purpose.
I'm sorry, it was an accident.
I don't want your apologies. I was angry with both him and John. That was why he'd given me a weird look. Thanks a lot, brother. He could have warned me his friend was coming. I got to my feet and immediately felt dizzy. I almost fell again, but someone held me up. It was the captain of the other team.
Come on, I'll take you to the doctor.
Finally, someone with a head on their shoulders. It seemed my own brother didn't care much about his sister's health.
My name is Steve. You are Shaylee, right?
I nodded, and I noted to myself that Steve was really nice. The doctor examined me and said it was nothing serious, so I should get a good night's rest. The next evening, Katie dragged me to a party. Some kids gathered in a secluded corner of the camp, and someone brought a speaker. At first, we just danced. But then Katie suggested something more interesting. Let's play Spin the Bottle. As she spoke, she looked at John with interest. As I was spinning the bottle, I hoped it would point at Steve. And I could barely believe it, but it did. We kissed. While everyone else was playing, we often looked and smiled at each other. And soon, it was my turn again. I didn't get lucky again. The damned bottle pointed at Michael. Heck, I wished it was anyone but him. Michael had already stood up when I decided to take revenge on him for the earlier incident with the ball. Ugh, no way. I'd rather kiss a slug. Michael blushed. My words had obviously humiliated him. Everyone except John was laughing. And as we were leaving, my brother caught up to me.
Stop treating my friend like that.
I didn't start this war.
You're never gonna find a boyfriend like this.
We'll see about that. In the morning, I was woken up by Katie's loud screeching. Then I felt something slimy on me. I looked at my shoulder and I saw a couple of fat slugs. Ugh! I jumped out of bed and I quickly shook them off. It had to be Michael's doing. I wasn't gonna let him get away with it. Everyone came to the dining room for lunch. I waited until Michael left to get a drink, and I put some wasabi powder in his food. At that moment, Katie was distracting John, just like I'd asked her to. Michael started to eat and quickly turned red. He started coughing and ran out of the dining room. John immediately rushed after him. I was pretty pleased with myself. I felt even happier when Steve came up to me after lunch.
Let's go for a walk.
Naturally, I agreed. We had a great time. I was mentally gloating. Anyone who thought I wouldn't be able to find a boyfriend was wrong. At some point, Katie came up to us. Shaylee, when are you gonna set me up with John? You promised. Actually, I didn't. Katie was clearly pissed at me. I didn't care at first, but then an angry John came up to me.
I know you put wasabi in Michael's food.
Damn it. Katie must have ratted me out. I folded my arms across my chest and I looked at my brother calmly. So what?
Michael is allergic.
It serves him right. John didn't say anything else, and Steve took my side. He was so sweet. As we walked to my room, Steve offered to arrange a photo shoot by the pool in the morning.
You just have such a beautiful figure.
Oh, thank you. We heard someone in the bushes cough, but when I went to check, there was no one there. Steve and I came to the pool early. Since there was no one there yet, I posed a little bit on the side, and then I got into the water. As soon as I surfaced, I immediately realized something was wrong. Steve was staring at me. I touched my face and screamed. My skin had turned blue. What was wrong with me? While I was panicking, other kids came to the pool. Some of them were laughing and filming me. And at some point, I saw Michael. He grinned and waved a package at me. It was a die. That bastard! I got out of the pool while everyone kept laughing. Soon, everyone at camp saw the video of that humiliating incident. Someone even made memes out of screenshots. Just you wait, Michael. My revenge would be terrible. It took a long time, but one day I got my chance. We were told that a famous football player was going to visit our camp. He was planning on sending his daughter there, and he wanted to see everything for himself. The boys decided to hold a football match so he would see them play. I noticed that Michael seemed very worried. One day, I accidentally overheard his conversation with John.
You know that I want to be a professional football player. This is my chance to shine.
That made me laugh. A football player? You're just a coward that can only fight with girls. Steve's a real hero. He'll beat everyone. Michael pretended not to care, but John shot me a withering look. A little later, Steve invited me for a walk again. We kissed a lot and took selfies. Things were going fine. But I soon got annoyed because Steve wouldn't stop taking pictures of me, even for a minute. I was going back to my room after our walk when I saw John. He looked around quickly and ran into a storeroom. What was he doing there? I followed him and I looked at him questioningly. Please, don't tell Katie I'm here. I'm so tired of her. I couldn't help but hide. I laughed softly. Okay, I won't tell her. We stayed silent for a while, but then John said something unexpected. By the way, I've been meaning to talk to you for a while about Steve. I don't think you should hang out with him. Why not? He's a player. He comes to this camp every year and finds a new girlfriend. The other boys told me he shows them their pictures and always brags about his conquests. I immediately remembered the way that Steve kept asking me to pose. But that didn't mean anything. Steve's not like that. He really likes me. In the end, John couldn't convince me. There are so many better guys you could be dating instead. Like Michael. I twirled a finger at my temple. Are you out of your mind? He's my enemy. You're crazy if you can't see something so obvious. John pissed me off and we had a fight. But then I came up with my idea for revenge. I had to ask Katie for help again. Of course, I didn't really trust her after the wasabi incident, but I had no other choice. Could you distract Michael before tomorrow's match? I need you to lure him into a storeroom and find a way to take away his phone. And why would I help you? I can get you a date with John. It wasn't hard to convince Katie after that. Her obsession with John was a bit scary, but she did everything I asked. She told Michael she needed his help in the storeroom. On the way there, she said her phone had died and asked to borrow his. He went inside and we locked the door behind him. I took his phone from Katie and I went to the stadium. Who was laughing now? I immediately saw the famous football player that everyone had been talking about. He was sitting in the front row. The boys looked visibly nervous, especially Michael's team. A lot of time passed and they eventually had to start without him. John and the rest of the team were losing, and I was cheering for Steve. Soon, a timeout began. My brother immediately ran up to me. Where's Michael? Did you do something again? I didn't. Of course, at that moment, Michael's phone rang in my pocket. John realized what had happened and lost his temper. How long is this feud gonna last? You're the one provoking him. Now that's unfair. I'm the one provoking him? Michael is a monster. Do you think I forgot about what he did to the kittens? He released them on purpose. What do you think happened to them in the city? John suddenly sighed heavily. It wasn't Michael who got rid of the kittens. It was our parents. Their mom was a stray and no one wanted to adopt them. Mom called you to dinner and Dad brought them to an animal shelter. Michael saw it and he wanted to stop it, but Dad didn't listen to him, of course. Michael kept it a secret because our parents asked him to. They didn't want you to be angry with them. Michael wanted to make up with you at this camp. The ball hit you by accident and you wouldn't let it go and you started fighting again. To say that I was shocked would be an understatement. At first, I refused to believe it, but I knew John too well. He was a terrible liar. Had I really been angry with Michael for something he hadn't even done? Tell me where he is. I didn't want to, but I did anyway. He's locked in the storeroom where you hid yesterday. In the end, Michael got to the field in time to participate, and he did really well. To my annoyance, he was also really handsome. Why did he have to look so good? It was unfair. After the game, Katie ran up to me. You owe me a date with your brother. She was so annoying. I had to talk to John. Come on, I told you where Michael was. It was hard, but I managed to convince him. Katie was over the moon. Steve and I still hung out a lot. We agreed to keep dating over the summer, made plans, and exchanged phone numbers. Soon, I was back at home. Time passed, but Steve didn't call. I was worried something had happened to him, and I eventually decided to call him myself. At first, he didn't even pick up the phone, but I kept calling. Let's meet. Steve started coming up with all sorts of excuses. I could tell by his tone that he didn't want to see me. That hurt. It seemed my brother had been right. I really was just another conquest for him. As luck would have it, John was standing in the doorway and heard our whole conversation. I tried to tell you. I wasn't even really all that upset when I went out for a walk the next day. I came to the water park, sat down on a bench, and then someone came up to me. I looked up and I saw Michael. He sat down next to me. I heard Steve dumped you. We weren't even really together. I thought Michael was gonna mock me, but he suddenly repeated John's words. There are a lot of good guys out there. For example, me. I stared at him in disbelief. Was he joking? I've always liked you, but you were so stubborn you didn't even notice. I've tried to make up with you so many times. Actually, you know what? He didn't even finish his sentence. He just pulled me in and kissed me. I could hear the water slides and the passerby laughing, but we just kept kissing and kissing. Yeah, something incredible had happened. I fell in love with my worst enemy. Now, we're dating. The famous football player saw how talented Michael was and took him under his wing. I often watch them practice. I haven't heard from Steve again. Katie still hasn't left John alone. After that date, she completely lost it. Now she stalks him, and she's even gonna transfer to our school. Any ideas on how to get rid of her? Tell us in the comments down below.
The Foundation's activities are hidden from the people's eyes, but each of you can face the terrible anomalies and immerse yourself in the atmosphere of a powerful organization. The most dangerous objects leave the secret archives pages and come to life in the SCP Chronicles' unpredictable storyline. And for the most desperate individuals who venture to dig into the secret protocols, we always have a portion of amnestics.